Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we will be solving Codeforces round 906 tip 2 problem A Doremy Spain 3. Okay, so pause the video, read the question, then I will explain. Cool. So what question is saying that we will be given an array of positive integers. Okay, now what Doremy wants is he just want to check that if there exists some value k such that adjacent elements sum is equal to k, that is b1 plus b2 equals to b2 plus b3 and all the way to bn minus 1 to bn equals to k. Now what the condition we have in the array is that Doremi can permute its element. So permuting, I mean change their order. So she can change the order of the elements of the array. So it is asking that whether she can make this array good or not. Saying good will follow this condition. So if array is good, that means that array will follow this condition. Okay. So just give me a second. So what the question says is, so if this is the array, this is the array, we have elements as a1, a2, a3, something like this. So what the array will be good if a1 plus a2 is equals to a2 plus a3 equals to a3 plus a4 till the end, a4. Now see, let's see if this is an array, okay, and let's take the first three elements itself. Okay, we are saying that this element, let's say it is x and y. So it is x and y, and here it is equals to z, right? So what we can write, what we can say from the question is that if we want this to be good array, then x plus y should be equal to y plus z. What does that mean? That means if we'll cancel out x, then we can simply say that x should be equal to z. Okay. Similarly, if we will have some more element over here, let's say p, then we can move further and say that x plus y should be equal to y plus z should be equal to z plus p. Cancelling this z and z, we can say that y must be equal to p. So what we can see from here is the alternate element should be equal, that is x was equal to z, then whatever the next element we will have should be equal to again x, then again. Similarly for the even number elements, or like the even elements, or the even indices elements, so this should be equal, right? There can be one scenario where all the elements are equal, okay, but if that's not the case, then at least the alternate element should be equal. Now now so that's what we found out from this equation, right? That all the odd position elements should be equal. Odd position and all even position should be equal. Let's say it is equal to x and it should be equal to y. If they all are equal, let's say if there is an array and if it's all x, then it doesn't matter whichever two adjacent elements we pick, it the value will always be 2x. So in that scenario it will be a good array. But let's say if there is any scenario where one value is x, one value is y, and one value is z, and we know that z is neither equal to x and z is neither equal to y. That means no matter how we arrange it, no matter how it arrange it, even though if we have x and y remaining as a remaining elements, but no matter how we arrange that, the place where this z will be there, it will form pair either with x. So in that scenario it will be x plus z, or it will form pair y. So in that scenario it will be x plus z. Then it will never be equal to x plus y. Why? Because we know that z is not equal to y, so this will rule out this condition, and z is not equal to x, so this will rule out this condition. Okay, so I hope this will be clear till here. So what we can say over here is, yeah, okay, so maybe someone can say something like this. So let's say here it is 3, here is 3 and 3, so this will be equal to 6 and this will also be equal to 6, but this element again will not be equal to 6. So for there we can say that this is x, this is y, and this is z. So at the end what and we have already realized that the odd position elements and the even position elements should be equal. Okay, so seeing all these, what we can say is at max we will have two elements. One is x, one is y. Okay. Now, what should be the count? Let's say there are 10x and 4y's. Is it possible? Is it possible? Will it make a good array? Let's check this. So let's say we have 2x or 4x, let's say. Okay, and just 1y or 2y. Will it be a good array? No, because we know that for x it should occur something like this way. Okay, xy should be occurring in pair, or maybe we can have one extra x at the end. So it should be not in pair exactly, it should be alternating. So if it's alternating, then it's fine. Even if it's in pair, then also it's fine, because in that scenario every adjacent number will have be one x and one y. So in that scenario also we'll have our array as good. So what we realize that the number of x, let's say it is nx, and number of y is equals to ny. That means either nx equals to ny or nx, if we have arrangement something like this, that x y x y x, then in this kind of scenario we can have nx is equals to ny plus 1, or we can have some scenario like y x y x y. Then in that case we can write something like this, that ny equal to number of x plus 1. So analyzing this situation, what we can see is the absolute difference between both the numbers, that is nx minus ny, should be less than equals to 1, right? Now, and we have already calculated that there can be only two numbers. Okay, so if there are more than two distinct numbers, two numbers isn't two distinct numbers. So if there are more than two distinct numbers, then in that scenario we can't have our answer. We already proved over here that if we have some z which is not equal to x and y, we can't have our answer, right? So if we have more than two distinct numbers, we can't have our answer. If we have exactly two distinct number or one distinct number, so I mean, let's say there was only x and x and x. Okay, only x. So in this scenario also we can simply say that there is x is also equal to x and its count is y, and y is also equal to x, or simply we can say that there is only one x, and we can simply check. So how we will check? Then either of see, like let's say if it was two elements x and y. Okay, if it was x and y, then we can, one of them will be maximum, right? Let's say if nx was maximum, then we can simply, and we can denote it as mx, then we can simply write that mx minus nx should be less than equal to 1. Similarly, mx minus ny should be less than equal to 1, and only one of these can be true, because we know that mx was equal to nx, so this will be equal to 0. Sorry, this both will be true, but the difference will be equal to 1, to one of this, at max one of them. Okay, because we know that 1 is equal to mx itself. So what we can say, that we can simply make a map, of int comma int. Okay, we can simply make a map of int comma int mp, and we can, for all the, we can run a loop over this, for auto, let's say n over this nums array, and we can increment the count of that particular value, let's say nums plus n plus plus. Now we can simply check if mp dot size is greater than 2. What does that mean? That means we have more than two distinct elements, that we know that in that scenario we can't have our answer, and we can simply return, we can simply see out no, and we can return. Else else when we were calculating here, we can simply have one variable mx initially at 0, and we can simply maximize it by mx is equal to max of mx comma mp of n. So in this way we'll be able to find the maximum value, and here we can just iterate over the map for auto it to map or mp. Will check if mx minus it dot second If it is greater than 1, if it is greater than 1, then also in that scenario we won't have our answer. We can simply see out no and return, else we will do nothing. And this loop is completed, then we can simply see out yes. And also just to point out that in map we'll have only at max two elements. Either it will be just one element, that is x, or we will have element x and y. Both the scenario this should be true. Okay, let's go to the code. So just as I explained, we'll make a map, we'll just increment the count, we'll take out the maximum value. Okay, we'll check if there are more than two distinct numbers, we can simply return no. Else else we can check in the map, inside the map, if the difference between the whatever the maximum element we have, or the maximum element as in the occurrences for any element, what is the maximum number of occurrences of any particular element minus occurrence of other number, or it can be like the same number itself. So in that scenario it will be 0. Else if it's another number and the difference is greater than 1, then also we'll return, or we'll see out no and return from this loop or from this function. And then if this loops completes, that means everything is satisfying and we can simply print see out yes. So I have submitted this and this was an AC solution. I hope this question will be clear, but if you guys have any doubt, do let me know in the comment section. Okay, thank you guys.